the beginning of the video, you're looking at still shots of several different types of clocks. Grandfather clocks, mantel clocks, wall clocks, kitchen clocks. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and show you how to do oiling and cleaning on your own clocks. And it's not quite as hard as it looks, but sometimes it can be a little bit daunting. So with that, I thought what we would do is show you kind of what you have to look for. So first of all, this particular clock is a tube chime clock, so its complexity is a little bit heavier than most clocks. There's, as a rule, there's all kinds of clocks with different types of weights. Some have cables and some have chains, and just kind of depends what type of clock you bought. A lot of different movements. They're all basically the same, and oiling and cleaning them is all about the same too. So part of the problem is being able to remove the movement from the clock housing and getting it back in there exactly the way it needs to be, and then reset the time and regulate it. So hopefully I can go through all of that, and then if you're brave enough, you can go ahead and do your own oil, do your own clock oiling. So this tube chime, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just open the door here for you. Now this one here, the dial comes off the front. There's 4 dial feet on this one, and they're clipped in the back, so all you have to do is undo the clips and this dial will come out for you. So first of all, you have to take the hand nut off, which is right here. You just unscrew that. Sometimes you have to hold the hand right here and use a little pair of pliers and just unloosen that. And you just want to snug them back up when you put them back on. And the hands will pull straight off. This one here you might have to wiggle a little bit. And then the R hand behind that is frictioned on, and it just comes right out of there. So that's the first thing you have to do. Okay, so make sure your weights are about 2/3 of the way back up. Do not wind them all the way up. You have a lot of problems trying to get your weights unhooked if you do that. So the next thing you want to do is string a piece of fishing line or something like that all the way through all of your chains with the weights off, and then you just pull them nice and tight like that, and tie the fishing line so that the chains are tight. The right weight facing the clock, the right side weight is generally the very heaviest of all the weights, and the center and the strike side, or the left, are usually the same weight. Now if you're worried about it, as you take each one off, just use a little Sharpie and make an R on the heaviest weight to the right, and then put a C for center weight and L for left weight, and that will take care of that problem if you're worried about the weights being different. Most of them, like I said, just the right weight is the heaviest. Then you want to remove the pendulum, which is just on a hook, and you just lift it up and remove it, and your weights are off, and you got your chains tied. So the next thing we want to do, since this one back here again, since this dial comes off to the front, you should be able to oil this particular clock and many other clocks similar to it without having to remove them from the case. But not all. Some clocks do come out, the dials come off the front, but you can't get to the back of them because it's there is no opening or door to the back. Sometimes the side doors open on the sides, but you can't oil them from the sides. So then you're forced to remove the whole movement from the case. So we'll move on to that in just a minute. Now, before you remove the weights, go out to the store, Walmart or some place like that, and buy yourself some cotton white gloves or just some gloves. And I always wear gloves when I take the weights off. You don't want to touch your brass when you're removing the weights. And tube chimes, you don't want to touch them either. The salt, the oils, and stuff on your hands will eventually, or could eventually, corrode your weights. So if you have a crank up, you always want to make sure you have these when you're helping the weights up, when you're cranking them up. And this one's a chain, so you won't have, this won't be a cable crank up. But a good thing is to wear gloves and not touch your weights, or your pendulum for that matter. So just buy a pair. I always get little white cotton gloves. They're not very expensive, and that way you can remove them, the weights and stuff, without having any damage to them. Now on this clock, it's a tube chime, so you'll have to remove the tube chimes, the tubes from the clock before you can clean and oil it. And the easiest way to do that is, again, use your gloves. Most of them just have a little latch at the top, and you just do it just like that. Oops, did you see that? They come in here like this, and you just undo that and pull your chime out. All right, and your chimes will all, just kind of watch which one's the longest one, and then they'll all be shorter in progression, so you won't have a problem getting them mixed up. Now on this one, you're going to have to undo the tabs. There's little clips here. There's one that's black right there, and these you can get your hand in there and just right there, just open it up. And then there's one down below, and then there's one over on the other side right there, and one down below there. See it right here, and then they move down. Make sure you have somebody helping you. You're going to need somebody to hold the front dial while you want to do the tabs in the back, so you don't want that dial to fall out of there. And there's, like I said, there's 4 dial feet, and they snap back in the holes. Then you just pull the clips back up. So, and that's how this one's done. So I give you a little demonstration here on how to clean these with a little bit of cleaning solution, and then re-oil them. So we'll go on to another clock. Okay, now this is a wall clock, and some wall clocks you can take this dial off. There's 2 screws, one right here, one here. Take your hands off, and there's usually screws either on the inside or on the back. If they're on the back, there's only going to be 4 screws going through it to hold it on there. If the screws are bracketed inside, generally there'll either be 4 or 8. So you have to undo all of the screws, unless you can get to the back of it. Most of them, some wall clocks you can get to the back, some you can't. So if you can leave the clock in, the movement inside the clock, you're better off, but it's not a big deal to take them out. So, but that's this one here you'd have to take out in order to oil the back side. Clean and oil it. Okay, here's this little kitchen clock. And once again, this does not have a screw-on nut. It just has a little pin. So you have to be very careful using a pair of pliers. You just pull this pin out, and the hands will come off. Now here, you'll have to disconnect the, this one has a little alarm bell on it. So you'd have to unscrew this and remove the alarm here first. Take the 2 screws out on the front here, and the pendulum, take that off, and this one will come off through the front. So on the back side, there's no way to take it off, see? So you just have to go ahead and take it out the front, and then you can clean and oil the front and the back side of this. Okay, now since you've had a little walk me through on the different kinds of clocks there are, and there are just hundreds of them, the next thing we'll do is get a video set up so that you can DIY your own clocks, and it'll show you how to oil them properly and how to clean them, and what kind of chemicals to use, what not to do, and that'll be on the next video following up. So as always, I appreciate you watching our videos, and I do have a lot of fun making them. So thanks again, and you have a nice day.